Hello, I'm Tim Harris. This is Julie Harris, and this is Real Estate Coaching Radio.
That's right. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for popping by. Hit that like button, and don't forget to leave your comments and questions so we can get right back with you.
We will. Thank you for continuing to make our podcast, Real Estate Coaching Radio, the #1 listened to podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. And let us know what you think about this video. Leave your comments below. Thank you.
3, 2, 1, and we are back. And this is day 4 of how to make at least $1 million selling real estate. And I'm not surprised this is such a popular series. We're getting a lot of great feedback. A lot of you guys are messaging us over on Instagram at Tim and Julie Harris and giving us great comments on iTunes and YouTube. I'm loving the fact that you guys are loving this because you're understanding that the whole intent of this series was to wake you up to the fact that, guess what? Ready for it? The market does not matter. What you do in the market matters. And it's not about the interest rates. It's not about the mortgages. It's not about the presidential this or this and the other things. All the other headlines that are supposed to be grabbing your attention, none of those matter because there's still going to be roughly 5 million real estate transactions this year, which will equate to about 10 million real estate commission checks. And how many of those do you actually have to get to make a meaningful amount of money for you and your family? Probably not that many comparably. So get your head out of anything that's not causing you to be energetic, enthusiastic, incredibly motivated and optimistic about this market because, and again, I know a lot of you are understanding this based on the feedback from the last 3 shows, markets like this create new leaders, full stop. And a lot of you have been waiting your entire life, some of you, to actually become dominant at something, become the best at something, and you're now realizing that you can do that in this market because of this market. And to all of you, we salute you. Julie, point number 15.
Yes, this is part 4 of our 5-part series about how to make $1 million or more per year in real estate. Adjust accordingly, up or down. So part 4, point number 15. Social media does matter. Learn YouTube first and post short videos which highlight your expertise. Tim, why YouTube first?
You give me that question, right? So here's, question we get frequently asked. I want to start my own podcast, or what should I be doing? So here's the answer. I'll give you the bottom line. If you want to start a podcast, go for it. But it is very, very difficult to become a well-downloaded, listened-to podcaster because all kinds of reasons that I won't bore you guys now. But the moral of the story is if you have to choose to invest in a social media platform, I 100% would suggest you do YouTube Shorts. It's easier to create a YouTube short video. The content itself does not have to be that precise and thought through. Julie and I spend, now with the help of ChatGPT,
yes.
We spend hours per week creating these outlines and creating these topics. Julie and I are reading from a script we do every single day. Those don't write themselves, even with ChatGPT helping, right? But what I'm saying is when you're doing a short video, it can be you off the cuff, just creating a video about something that's relevant to your real estate market. It could be you walking through a new listing. It could be you giving a quick tour of some whatever. I mean, all these types of things we're going to talk about. But the moral of the story is getting attention on those videos through YouTube is vastly easier than having and hoping and praying that someone finds your podcast on iTunes. And guess what, guys? The YouTube Shorts, we teach you how to do those in Premier Coaching. It's all available. We give you lots of content ideas. We tell you exactly how to do it. It's very simple. Now, for those of you who are a little bit more advanced, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more advanced information. This is not in our notes. So here's all I'll suggest. Again, if this is not for you, then ignore it. It's fine. But for those of you who do want to have more of start building your social media content, you actually do want to start loading your videos first to TikTok. Why TikTok? Because TikTok has got, without a doubt, the best, easiest to use, simplest to understand system for basically putting words on your videos, adding music. All you got to do is just click. It's so easy to make it so that your TikTok video of you talking about the new, dog park or whatever, it's so easy to add, words that are essentially going to compel people to want to watch it, and then music in the background, like I said, all kinds of other things. than it is on any of the other platforms. Then from TikTok, you click one button, and then that TikTok then is shared on Instagram, and then you can also share it directly on YouTube as a YouTube short, you see? So TikTok becomes your primary software, basically, your primary app to create the content, and then you use TikTok to disseminate to all the other platforms. That's the easiest way to do it. Now, you do need to do on all the different platforms, be it TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, there are ways that you need to set up your actual page so that you're going to get people, you're going to essentially tell the SEO within those widgets, search engine algorithms, to know what your YouTube channel, for example, is all about. But we teach you guys how to do that in Premier Coaching. It's all very simple, and I'll shortcut it for you guys. Go find out who the most dominant YouTubers, TikTok is, or Instagram is in your marketplace, and look to see how their page is set up. And essentially, you can start by copying what they're doing, and maybe even for content ideas. So another little widget you want to put in place is a software program called VidQ. This is all online. You don't have to download anything. And what VidIQ does is actually it's an AI-based program that tells you how to, for example, write compelling titles for your videos. Maybe you're completely and totally bad at writing, and it's fine. Use VidIQ. It'll tell you what you should be, even down to the point of what you should be doing videos about. Once it identifies who your target audience is, it'll tell you who your target audience is also paying attention to. Then it'll tell you of those other YouTube content creators what videos that your prospective viewers are actually watching of your prospective YouTube content creator competitors, and then you can do the same. And then it'll give you a great idea of what to say, how to say it. You can actually have these different systems write you a little script, like something that Julie and I do is on YouTube. You can get a total transcription of all of our YouTube videos. There's a button on your YouTube that you can click and get a transcription of what essentially that video is all about. So if you're wanting, oh my gosh, what am I going to create my content about? Here's a shortcut. Go to see what your YouTube content creator fellow agents are creating content on, download their transcription, pull out their points, personalize their points, and do a video on the same damn thing.
Exactly. So, ages ago, you would have hired an assistant to do all of that. So nothing that you just mentioned is difficult. None of it costs much. I mean, VidIQ is like, what, $10 a month or $10 a year? It's so cheap, I don't even remember. So remember, social media is in addition to, not instead of, proactive lead generation, but social media done correctly can reach multiple prospects and lives on a lot longer than individual calls. Again, not instead of, in addition to.
It's just nowhere as effective, not even on the same planet in terms of effectiveness as I think a well-orchestrated direct conversation with, especially, for example, an expired seller. There is no comparison to how effective essentially a well-scripted direct conversation with a seller is versus creating a billion videos. Don't be confused. That's the reason we want you to do the passive and the proactive. The proactive being the direct contact, the passive being things like marketing and social network. But we want you to do it in the right order, because if you lead with doing all the more fun stuff, which is the social media stuff, you're going to find yourself with not enough viable leads and most likely failing out of the business.
That's right. So this is in supplement to the real work of real estate. And here's the thing that I've seen that's very interesting about this, to marry this with a little more traditional coaching. If you're uncomfortable on video, you have to overcome that. Video is becoming more and more important, that's true, but anything that makes you uncomfortable on video, you probably need to upgrade IRL in real life.
But let me give a thing out that, and this is for some people that are uncomfortable on video. Don't make the video about you. Don't make you the center focus of the video. You don't have to make like the whole thing where the camera's always pointed at you and you're just doing all these talking and these these sort of animated facial expressions. Turn the camera around and do the video about whatever the subject is, which is maybe the house or the new dog park or whatever it is. So if you are uncomfortable with how you look on video, then don't put you on video. Maybe you don't do it all the time. You just do it occasionally. And then you focus more on whatever your topic is. That's okay. Because the moral of the story is what these social platforms do create is essentially social proof. It validates you as a professional over time. So let's say, for example, you're in a heated competition and the seller's trying to decide between you and Bob, right? And both of you guys absolutely phenomenally hit it out of the park, absolutely great, but you've got a lot of videos that are essentially reinforcing the idea that you are indeed an expert on that local market. They're going to most likely list the house with you versus Bob, who doesn't have any social at all. Now, if the very least you should do is set up pages on these different social platforms, including LinkedIn and there's others too. We teach you all this in Premier Coaching so that when someone searches your name, they're going to find your YouTube page. And even if your YouTube page only has a few videos, that's fine. You guys get it? At the very least you should do is set up social platforms. The profiles on each of them, that's where they see your name, your face, your contact information. That is actually more important than having an agent website, believe it or not.
Yes, that's right. Now, your videos do need to be specific to real estate and to your exact market areas. We did do a whole podcast series about this.
We did.
But think about how a buyer or seller searches for an agent in your town. And again, refer to our podcast series about what you should be posting. Short but content-rich and market-specific videos. I set down some examples here, and maybe you want to add some as well. For example, what's my home worth in Orlando? Insert your town. 5 things to know before you sell your home in Atlanta. Homes for sale in Columbus, Ohio. How to stage my home in Kansas City. 3 things to consider when buying in Buffalo. 3 things to consider when selling in Phoenix. So those are those are content specific to your market.
I'm going to go back to this whole idea of not wanting to be on video. You're no better or worse looking than the people watching your video. Everyone is basically average. Single digit people are exceptionally good looking. If you think you're one of those people that are exceptionally good looking, you're probably not. Because it's you're not Brad Pitt. You know what I'm saying? So don't get yourself in this quagmire about how I look on video. That's just you thinking that they're actually making a decision about the value of your content based on what your hair looks like. They're not. They're actually wanting you to present information that's of value to them. And they know that they're average looking just like you're average looking, but you happen to be somebody that's providing something of value in terms of content. That's what's going to win you the game. And I'll give you a little suggestion. For those of you who are entrepreneurs and you really want to create a compelling real estate startup, here it is. Ready? Start creating content for agents who will not actually create videos themselves. Make it so agents can they basically hire some better than average looking person to be their video expert and then create a whole bunch of videos for them and help them basically create an ongoing stream of content that is about, Bob and Susan's real estate practice, but it happens to be beautiful Betty who's doing the presenting.
I know, that's funny. You keep on mentioning Bob. You remember yesterday Zoe asked, we were talking about our friend's husband named Bob. There were real Bobs in the world.
Yeah, she goes, well, hold on. His name's actually Bob?
I know, it's so funny because you can tell she listens to the podcast.
Yes.
Okay, so point number 16, we're talking about how to make $1 million+ a year in real estate. Focus. That stands for follow one course until successful. Be fanatically consistent with your profit-driven schedule. What should your schedule be? Follow your real estate treasure map. We talked about it yesterday. 80% of your day must be spent generating new business and 20% servicing existing business. If you expect instant success and instant gratification all the time, you're going to be constantly disappointed. Consistent success comes only from doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. Doing that now and then is not focus. Well, how do you know if you have focus? Follow one course until successful. Well, if your spokes on the wheel include, for example, generating listings through your social media or through open houses, let's say social media, but you only post 1 video per month now and then when you feel like it, that's not focus. If you do get success from open houses, but you only do them when you're desperate, that's not focus.
Here's the litmus test for knowing whether what you're focusing on is actually what you should be focusing on. Write down the things that you want to do the least. Okay, there it is. Focus is you defining where you're going to get the most bang for the buck, where you're going to get the most benefit for your time and effort. Where you're going to get the most benefit for your time and effort are the very things you want to do the least. Write those things down. It's an interesting, I think, introspective, internal, quest for yourself. What is it that you absolutely positively will not do? No matter how many times I hear Tim and Julie say it, hell to the no, I will never do it. Well, guess what? I want you to think about it. Isn't the very thing you're saying you'll never do the very thing that's going to get you the most results and make you the most amount of money the quickest? Maybe, just maybe, you should think about doing that very thing, right? I mean, we've got things like that in our lives that we absolutely positively, Julie's laughing,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of them that we absolutely positively do not want to do. But we know we have to do them. So some days, most days, we force ourselves to do them at a high level because we know we get the most benefit from it. That's called doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level and being honest with yourself. Look, guys, all of us, are inherently lazy, right? All of us want to naturally get to a point where we think we can be complacent, where we think we no longer have to work hard, where we think we basically have it all figured out. I got news for you. That is never true. Julie and I have searched for that. There's no amount of monthly income. There's no peak health. There's no peak relationship. There's none of that. You're always going to have to improve. And as soon as you think you have arrived, you will lose what you have.
That's true.
That's unfortunately true.
Well, so that requires that you both be introspective and take action. You can't be, conscious of it and observe it and also do nothing about it, because that's not going to help you. There's a lot of people that sit around and ruminate in their mindset too long. Meanwhile, they're not doing the actions. They're not doing things like what we hate every morning, kettlebells.
Kettlebells.
I don't particularly like taking all of my vitamins and supplements.
Me either.
Especially kind of all at once. That's something I have to talk myself into. And yet, we know that both of those things are what we need to be doing.
Well, a lot more than that. I mean, I remember when, you and I have been married for 32 years this year. And I remember you and I both used to get hives. You used to physically get hives when we talk about money.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I mean, talking about
a lot of people do.
But why? It's because it was one of those things that you were taught. I mean, it wasn't a conversation that we ever had in our families. And when it did come up, it was because there was scarcity. And that would then create a whole bunch of anxiety and nasty conversations, right? So you were taught that talking about money was not only that, but where we're from, talking about money is something that rude people do.
That's right.
And so when we
you didn't have a lot of financial education backing you, then you were uncomfortable about it, which made you hide out about it more. And, there you go. One thing leads to the next.
None of those things lead to a positive outcome. So we had to then come to the realization that if we ever truly wanted to be, rich is where our money works for us, and we no longer had to work for our money, that we needed to have conversations about things that we truly didn't want to have conversations about, which it's interesting that we think that we now acknowledge that we think that way. I think that you and I are reminded that we used to think that way because it's very unusual to come across somebody that doesn't think that way.
True.
People will talk about anything and everything. I mean, think about that, guys. What is taboo anymore? Is there anything that's taboo?
Especially these days.
I mean, but think about that. Isn't that shocking? Just 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we watched a movie last night that was from with Mark Wahlberg in it. What was it called?
I can't
M.
remember
Night
the name of it.
Shyamalan, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that was from 2008, right? Mm-hmm. And it was so different than a movie you would watch nowadays. It was so different, not just in the obvious things like the cell phones and the amount of wrinkles that Mark has, but which not that many comparatively. I don't know how that guy's keeping so young. But anyway, the things that were the behaviors that people had, the things that people were talking about, it's changed so much. But one of the things that hasn't changed is money. People still will not talk about money. And so if you're not willing to focus on money, how to build wealth, how to actually be financially free, you won't do it because it's not going to happen on accident. Matter of fact, we're going to do a podcast series for next week, which is specifically about the stages of wealth building. Those of you guys who are going to the Hyperfast agent event that Julie and I are going to be co-hosting in Fort Myers? No.
Outside of Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers, I think.
Yeah, we're going to be there next week. We're going to be presenting those very points.
Delray Beach, exactly.
Thank you. Delray Beach, and it's going to be so it's Google Delray Beach Hyperfast agent. We emailed all of you guys that are part of our list letting you know about it. But yeah, we're going to be presenting live. That's going to be on next Monday.
Yes, Monday the 6th.
And yeah, Julie's remembering all this.
Sorry, I still have a NASDAQ flashback on my head.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. Yes, so listen, guys, thank you for continuing to make this number one listened to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. It is amazing, wonderful, glorious to see tens of thousands of agents discovering this podcast for the first time. The next natural step for all of you is to move forward and become a Premier coaching client. We made it very easy for you. Just text the word Premier to 47372. Text the word Premier to 47372. Just do that now and scroll down and look at all the things you guys get for free for the first 30 days when you join Premier Coaching, or you can just go to premiercoaching.com. And again, guys, we are loving all the conversations we're having with so many of you about joining Julie and I at eXp Realty. If you'd like to learn more about eXp Realty, you're just getting started, text the letters EXP to 47372. Text the letters EXP to 47372. That is our exclusive eXp group that you can belong to. Or if you're ready to join eXp Realty and you have not chosen your eXp Realty sponsor, and you're looking for a sponsor that I think you guys will agree would be very proactive in your success, not just selling real estate, but at eXp building revenue share and the rest of it, please do consider us. Text me directly on my real cell phone, which is 512-758-0206. And yes, that is my real cell phone number. Do not call, but do text if you're ready to join eXp and you're looking for a sponsor who will be very proactive in your success. It's 512-758-0206. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right, and don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video, and remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.